for a super light bike, and so it looks like there'll be some exciting races coming up soon with some of these builds as the lights go out. And Scott Finlay gets a nice jump down the inside into turn 1, followed closely by Bob Irving, Paul Bergman and Tim Green. As they go into the up and over, you see Mark Wigley's in there in the mix on a super light. It's awesome to see Wiggles out there on the track. Even though unfortunately he had a bit of a road accident where a driver didn't see him and his wife on the bike and pulled out in front of him, and luckily they weren't hurt too seriously, but it's still a scary thing that we ask that car drivers make sure that they check their blind spots and look out for motorcycles, because sometimes it's only one headlight that you can see on a lot of these bikes, and you just got to stay aware and keep an eye out. So good on Wiggles for recovering well and getting back out there on the circuit. And we see Scott Finlay making his way down Porsche Dipper ahead of Bob Irving. And looks like Bob's just gonna let him run for a few laps before he starts putting on some pressure coming up to turn 6 there, around the sweeper to the hill back to the line. Close in tow we see Wiggles there, and then Martin Platt, followed by Kerry Chapman, Paul Bergman, Jeff Irving, Blair Mason on the 173 machine, the Pickle Pilot, and Alistair Wilton there just ahead of Chris Nobbs to make the top 10. David Ogden and Trevor Taylor, followed by Anthony Knox. Now Scott Finlay making his way through the up and over, nice and safe there ahead of Bob Irving. Mark Wigley there pulling a 1:17 in that last lap, and Martin Platt's also on the move, making his way up to 4th place ahead of Kerry Chapman. Kerry Chapman doing 121.2s as well as Paul Bergman. As we follow the front pack across the line now, we see Scott Finlay is punching out 113s now, and Bob Irving's close in tow with Mark Wigley hitting that 115s, and Paul Bergman is on the move now at 116. Kerry Chapman, followed by Martin Platt, Jeff Irving, Blair Mason, Alistair Wilton, Chris Nobbs closing out that top 10. Scott Finlay jumping off his high-o and getting straight onto his intermediate 650 Pro Twin, and running double classes as he does usually at our meetings, showing the fitness and experience of him and leading from the front in both classes. So that's awesome to see Scott pounding out the laps like he has been, and he seems to be putting a bit of space between him and Bob at the moment. Scott there still sitting in the 113s and towing Bob along in the 113s as well. Wiggles still hanging around 115s, and Paul Bergman stepping it up and getting across the line in 115s as well. So was Kerry Chapman. So that's the top 5 there, pulling some really decent laps here for the intermediate class. Still no Tim Green out there, so we're not sure. Maybe there's something going on with his Pro Twin, but it's unfortunate for Tim. It would have been nice to get a few Pro Twins out there banging bars, and we see Scott Finlay coming down, coming through the up and over now into Highpool with a comfortable lead there, making every lap a leading lap, and Bob Irving's not going to let him get away too much. Still pulling pulling those 113s, and Wiggles being consistent and just ticking off each lap, very consistent at 115s, putting about a 1 second gap between each of them in the top 3. Paul Bergman's still pushing along at 115s. Now looks like Wiggles has just stepped it up a notch in that last lap, and he's gone minute 14 now. Kerry Chapman and Martin Platt crossing through in the top 6, followed by Jeff Irving and the Pickle Pilot on the 173 machine, 1 minute 20.82. And that's awesome stuff from Blair there. And heading back to the front of the pack, Scott looks comfortable out in front of Bob, as he's backing it in there to the higher pull turn, and also Mark Wigley there keeping it nice and consistent. Nice and tidy through there is Bob Irving, sponsored by Action Sports Wanaka, with the fastest lap of 1:13.96. So these guys aren't mucking around out there. There's some nice track conditions today to put out some fast laps. And Paul Bergman there is still giving it a crack at 115s, pushing there, trying to get some ground back from Wiggles. Kerry Chapman, sponsored by Fast Eddie's East World Engineering, fastest lap of 1:15.845, to Martin Platt, to Jeff Irving, Blair Mason, Alistair Wilton, Chris Nobbs, Anthony Knox, and it looks like we've lost Trevor Taylor and Dave Ogden. Looks like they've pulled in the earlier laps. Scott Finlay is still leading from the front, sponsored by Kiwi House Inspections, Pirelli, RST and ECB. As they make their way around the back markers now, coming in to find a checkered flag, and it's looking like Scott Finlay's going to take a nice comfortable win out front on his own. Paul Irving will be crossing the line without any pressure from Wiggles. Both doing respectable times of 1:15s in that last lap, along with Paul Bergman. Kerry Chapman crossing the line in 5th place with 1:17 on that last lap. And we'll be rounding out the top 10 with Martin Platt, Jeff Irving, Blair Mason, the Pickle Pilot, Alistair Wilton, Chris Nobbs, Anthony Knox, and that'll close out race 2 of the intermediate class. I'd like to give a special mention and a thank you to Auckland Motorcycle Club Championship sponsors: Carl Cox Motorsport, Forbes and Davies, Levels Limited, Northern Accessories, Motul, MTF Finance, Medzilla, Arrow Helmets, Pirelli, and thank you to all the flaggies, marshals and volunteers that have made our day possible, come out and volunteered their time, get to see a bit of racing as well as help us out to get these guys on track to do a bit of racing. So thank you very much, and thank you all for making it possible for us to race here at Hampton Downs Motorsport Park.